It's New Year's Eve. And you know what that means?
Resolution.
Resolutions. But this time,
We're doing it right.
we're going to make them last. You know how they say most resolutions fizzle out after just a few weeks?
Oh, yeah. All the time.
So we're going deep today
Deep dive.
into the why and the how. With some help.
From the experts.
Exactly. The Kendall Reagan Nutrition Center at Colorado State University. They've got some research-backed strategies to help us.
Break the cycle.
Let's face it, willpower alone.
Doesn't really cut it.
Not really. So what's the deal with this whole resolutions thing?
Well, there's a whole psychology to it. You see, we tend to overestimate our future selves.
Like we'll suddenly become super disciplined overnight.
Right. And then we underestimate the power of those ingrained habits.
It's like battling our own brains.
Maybe much.
So how do we outsmart those brains of ours? The Kendall Reagan Nutrition Center talks about SMART goals.
Yes.
But let's break it down.
Okay.
More than just the acronym. How does each element actually address those mental roadblocks?
Okay, so let's start with specific. We all know those vague resolutions like eat healthier.
Yeah, exercise more.
Exactly. What does that even mean?
Right.
Without specifics, our brains kind of just...
Revert back to the old pattern.
Exactly. It's like saying you're going on an adventure without picking a destination.
Or packing a map. You're just wandering aimlessly.
Exactly. You'll get lost and overwhelmed for sure.
Okay, so specific gives us that roadmap.
That's it. Then there's measurable. Gotta track that progress.
Otherwise, you lose motivation.
You got it. Our brains love feedback.
It's like those fitness trackers.
Oh, yeah.
You suddenly care about hitting 10,000 steps.
Exactly. Little wins keep you going.
Now, achievable and realistic.
Yeah.
I think this is where a lot of us stumble.
It's so tempting to aim for a complete overhaul.
You're into me.
But it's got to be sustainable.
Small steps.
Small steps. The Kendall Reagan Nutrition Center really emphasizes that.
It's like building a system rather than
Forcing a square peg into a round hole.
perfect analogy. And finally, time-bound.
Ah, yes. The depth.
Why is that so crucial?
Because without it, things just drift.
Get lost in the daily chaos.
Exactly. A time frame creates that sense of urgency.
Like a project deadline.
Exactly. Suddenly you're focused.
Now, the Kendall Reagan Nutrition Center gives a great example of applying all of this to the classic resolution. Eat healthier.
Yeah.
They suggest something much more specific, like increase vegetable intake by adding 1 serving to dinner at least 4 nights this week.
Makes it so much more actionable.
It's not this vague idea of healthy.
You have a clear target.
And they even talk about gathering recipes, making a grocery list, scheduling cooking times.
You're setting yourself up for success.
It's like removing all the potential roadblocks.
Exactly. It's not just willpower, it's planning and execution.
I love that. It's about creating an environment where success is the most likely outcome. But even with the best plans,
Life happens.
life happens, which is where flexibility comes in.
Absolutely. The Kendall Reagan Nutrition Center is all about adapting as you go.
They even have a quote about this.
They do. It's something like learning, stumbling, and readjusting is a valuable part of growing and changing.
That's a powerful message. It takes the pressure off.
It does. It encourages a more compassionate approach.
So it's not about beating yourself up when you slip up.
Nope. It's about viewing it as data.
Feedback.
Exactly. How can you adjust for next time?
That's such a helpful shift. And I think that's a great place to pause for now. We've covered a lot of ground today.
We have, from psychology to SMART goals to embracing flexibility.
And there's more to come. In part 2, we'll dive even deeper with the Kendall Reagan Nutrition Center, exploring that whole why behind our resolutions.
And how to anticipate those inevitable obstacles.
Stay tuned.
We'll be right back.
All right, we're back. And we've been talking about those sneaky mental barriers to making resolutions stick.
And how to bust through them.
Exactly. We've got our SMART goals.
They're flexible.
Ready to adapt. But the Kendall Reagan Nutrition Center talks about something else.
The why.
The why. It's not enough to just have a SMART goal, is it?
Nope. Anyone can write down a goal.
But without a good reason.
It's easy to give up.
So it's got to be more than just fitting into those old genes.
Way more. It's about connecting your resolutions to something deeper.
Like your values.
Exactly. Your motivations. Think about how achieving this goal would change things.
How would you feel?
What positive ripple effects would it have?
This is getting pretty deep.
It is. It's about aligning your resolutions with who you really want to be.
So it's not just a superficial change.
Nope. It's a reflection of your core self.
Okay, so let's say my resolution is to finally write that novel I've always dreamed of.
Okay. I like it.
It's easy to get caught up in the logistics.
Yeah.
But if I really tap into my why,
It becomes about more than just finishing a book.
Exactly. It's about expressing my creativity, sharing my stories.
Maybe even inspiring others.
That's a powerful motivator
It is. It keeps you going when things get tough.
when that self-doubt creeps in.
Exactly. It reminds you why you're doing this.
It's like an internal compass.
I love that analogy. It guides you back to your true north.
So before we even get to the SMART goal part,
Sometimes you need to do some soul searching,
figure out that why.
journaling, reflecting, talking to people who know you well.
Because when your resolutions are aligned with your true self,
The journey becomes more fulfilling.
and the results mean more.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've got our deep why. We're feeling motivated, but let's be realistic.
Oh.
There are going to be roadblocks.
Always.
The Kendall Reagan Nutrition Center talks about this too. They don't sugarcoat it.
Nope. They say you got to anticipate those obstacles.
Have a plan.
A game plan.
So it's not just about hoping for the best,
It's about being prepared.
like a mental dress rehearsal.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's say my goal is to cook more meals at home instead of ordering takeout.
A classic.
But I can already picture those nights when I'm tired and tempted to just pick up the phone.
What's your plan for those moments?
That's the key, isn't it?
It is. You got to create those if-then scenarios.
So it's a Tuesday night and I'm exhausted.
Then you have a quick and easy recipe already prepped.
Or if I'm really craving takeout.
But then you allow yourself one night a week to indulge.
But the other 6 nights,
Home-cooked meals.
I like that.
Yeah.
It takes the decision-making out of the equation.
Your tired brain doesn't have to negotiate.
It's already decided.
Exactly.
The Kendall Reagan Nutrition Center also talks about changing your environment to reduce temptation.
Oh, yeah. Like if you're trying to cut back on sugar.
Don't keep cookies on the counter.
Out of sight, out of mind.
Exactly. Make healthy snacks easily accessible.
Make them tempting.
And don't forget your support system.
So important.
Tell your friends about your goals.
Find an accountability buddy.
Join an online community.
It makes a huge difference.
Knowing you're not alone.
That someone's cheering you on.
And celebrate those wins along the way.
Every single one.
No matter how small.
It reinforces those positive habits. Keeps you moving forward.
All right, we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have the why, the obstacles, the support system.
What else do we need to know about making those resolutions last? All right, so we're wrapping up our deep dive into resolutions that actually stick.
We've got our SMART goals, our why.
And a plan to tackle those obstacles.
Hmm.
But the Kendall Reagan Nutrition Center also talks about
Lifestyle change.
versus quick fixes. And it got me thinking.
Oh, tell me more.
Well, we've been focusing on individual goals, which is great. But what if...
We zoom out.
Exactly. What about the bigger picture? The impact we have on others?
Ah, the ripple effect.
Exactly. Our choices influence our families, our friends.
Our communities.
What if we approach resolutions with that in mind?
Interesting. So instead of just asking, how will this benefit me?
We ask, how might this inspire others?
I like that. Shifting from self-improvement to collective upliftment.
We become catalysts for positive change.
Powerful stuff.
So let's say my resolution is to be more present with my family.
Okay.
It's not just about me reducing screen time.
Right.
It's about creating a family culture of connection. My kids see me putting down my phone, engaging in conversations.
And that sets an example.
Exactly. They see it's important. And maybe their friends notice.
A chain reaction.
It's like those pay-it-forward stories, but with habits and mindsets.
Love that analogy.
And it made me wonder, what if this approach wasn't just for New Year's resolutions?
Go on.
What if we applied it to any area where we're seeking change?
In our relationship?
At work,
In our communities?
even on a global level.
Wow. You're thinking big.
What if we all took responsibility for those ripples?
Setting goals that benefit everyone.
Imagine a world where every resolution...
Contributed to a better world.
That's the challenge I want to leave our listeners with as we step into this new year.
Let's make resolutions that matter.
Resolutions that create ripples of positive change.
Beautifully said. Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year.